President Volodymyr Zelensky inspects the damage from Russia's overnight strikes on Kyiv. Some 50 locations across the capital were hit, including shopping centers, residential buildings, and government offices. Zelensky says Russia's aerial assault once again proves it doesn't play by the rules and goes after civilian, not military targets.
The museums, schools, just apartments, the Museum of Chernobyl, which was built, by the way, on 40th anniversary. It was built just 1 month ago. And so they attacked, they saw this museum, they attacked this exactly to the museum. So it's just crazy.
Russia's hours-long overnight barrage included some 600 drones and 90 missiles. Ukraine's Air Force says it destroyed or intercepted most of them. The owner of this coffee shop in Kyiv opened despite the damage. Yevgeny Prusak says the strikes came just 1 day after his grand opening.
Once the emotions die down a bit, we will think about whether to restore everything or whether to even work at all. Right now, there are quite a lot of questions, but fewer decisions than questions.
This customer says she came here specifically to support the owners after the attacks.
I decided to support the guys. I know they only recently opened. I constantly saw work being done, so this is my first time coming in. Unfortunately, it was under these circumstances. I hope it won't be the last time.
Russia confirms it also used its powerful Oreshnik hypersonic missile in the overnight barrage against Kyiv. This is only the third time the weapon has been used in the 4-year war. Moscow says the strikes were in response to Ukrainian attacks on civilian facilities in Russian territory, including this student dormitory in the Luhansk region in Russian-occupied eastern Ukraine. Kyiv denies those allegations.
DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal is in Kyiv, and earlier she told me what she experienced.
Well, Tara, it was a really loud and long night, definitely the loudest that I've experienced, and many Ukrainian colleagues here tell me that they feel similarly because there was almost a constant barrage of massive explosions with air defense working, and I imagine also some impacts because the air defense was not 100% successful taking down those missiles and drones. Every time we heard that there was an all clear announced, another message would come through that there was a new group of missiles targeting Kyiv and that people must continue to shelter. I went down to the metro station over here in Maidan briefly, and there were many people sheltering there. Now, it's important to keep in mind, Jared, that it's not possible for Ukrainians to shelter each and every time an air raid alert goes off because they go off daily, they go off multiple times a day. But yesterday, President Zelensky said that people must be careful, people must shelter because there was the threat of the hypersonic ballistic Oreshnik missile being used. There was also information put out by the US Embassy saying there'll be a massive attack in the next 24 hours. So I imagine there were more people sheltering than would have been the norm. Otherwise, there was a brief moment of lightness because a lot of people around me were watching the boxing match of Alexander Usyk, and when he won, there was a bit of a cheer that went up. But there was also many frightening scenes that we were seeing coming through. It's just a mark of Ukrainian resilience that they are so used to this and that they're able to look somewhere else. But as people were sheltering, we saw a metro station where some debris was falling, another subway where people were sheltering, where there was an explosion and fire coming in. So definitely quite a frightening night over here.
Nimisha, you just mentioned it. Ukrainian authorities are saying that the Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic missile was used. Why is this important?
Well, let me walk you through the capacity of the Oreshnik to drive home the point about the importance of this, Jared. We know that the Oreshnik can travel at 10 to 11 times the speed of sound. It can carry 300 to 400 kilograms of explosives. And it's only been used twice before in this war, once in November 2024 against Dnipro, and once just earlier this year in January against Lviv. This is only the third recorded time, according to Ukrainian authorities, that the Oreshnik has been used. The Zircon missile was also used. Russia has also confirmed confirmed this, and it has similar capacities. Now, this is very much a part of Russia's saber-rattling when it comes to nuclear capacities, because both of these missiles are nuclear capable. But even when we look apart from nuclear threats, there is the fact that the speed of these missiles means they can arrive in seconds, not even minutes, not giving people the chance to shelter and not giving air defense the chance to necessarily take everything down. There was also over 90 missiles and 600 drones launched, and Ukraine has said that they were not able to take down over 30 missiles and around 50 drones, which also causes an overwhelming of air defense and impacts. There was a market about 4 kilometers from here, completely burnt down, and there was a strike quite near the center too. We heard and felt those impacts as our buildings shook. We also know that there was a theater here which has shattered glass. Even the DW office that's close to this shelter felt shockwaves and faced damage. So it is a real reminder that there's nowhere in Kyiv or in Ukraine that is truly safe.
Nimisha, Russia says this was in a response to a Ukrainian attack on a school in the Russian-occupied Luhansk region. Tell us more about that.
So these are really serious accusations, Jared. Moscow and the Kremlin has said that over 18 people were killed in this attack. They claim that Ukraine targeted a dormitory. Ukraine has categorically denied this. Ukraine said they targeted a drone unit, but Russia is insisting that there were children sleeping in that building. Now, these are very serious accusations, and it's important to keep in mind that it is impossible to verify what exactly is happening in Russian-occupied Luhansk because independent journalists cannot access that space. Now, Russia brought this issue to the UN. Some other UN delegates said that if Ukraine was to do something similar, that they would be having twice daily meetings about attacks on civilians. But essentially, there's this tit for tat that is taking off thanks to the fact that Ukraine has more capacities right now. Assaults on civilians have been a long-time feature of the Russian assault on Ukraine. And we do know that there was an attack on Kyiv just 10 days ago. Ukraine promised a response to that. There was attacks on Moscow. Russia has promised an attack to that, response to that. And the U.S. has admitted that peace talks are at a standstill. Of course, American attention is elsewhere with the war in Iran, but they are expressing a willingness to continue supporting this. But of course, Ukraine here insisting that Russia must be held accountable, that pressure must be ramped up on Russia, and that Ukraine will take the lead in ramping up that pressure when it comes to hitting Russia and Russian oil facilities especially.
DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal there in Kyiv for us. Thanks a lot, Nimisha.